I'm just gonna talk your ear off for like 20 minutes about the light novel that I just read. I read the entirety of book one of Unrivaled. Technically, it's called I Got a Cheat Skill in Another World and Became Unrivaled in the Real World too. I am not going to call it that. So, our main character, Yuya Tenjo, his life has basically been one long losing streak. His parents bailed out on him before he can even remember them. His siblings treat him like he's walking garbage. And school's kind of just a daily reminder of how awful people can be, teachers included. Even strangers seem to swerve out of his path like he's bad luck in human form. Physically, let's just say he didn't win the genetic lottery. Short, overweight, his skin's acting up, his hair's already balding, and somehow every attempt to fix it only makes things worse. He eats clean and exercises, still gains weight. Skin and hair care? Disaster. He can't even hold a part-time job because the constant injuries from getting beat up keep him sidelined. The one good thing in his life was his grandpa, and by 5, Yuya was already raising himself. When grandpa passed away, he left him the house. His parents tried to swipe it, but his will was bulletproof, and now on the verge of high school, Yuya is still rolling nat ones in every stat, which makes it a perfect time for his Cinderella story to begin. So, Yuya's living at his grandpa's place. It's safe, but the house is huge. It's way too big for one person. And it's always a mess because it takes forever to clean. One day he's staring at himself in the mirror, getting more and more frustrated, and finally he just snaps. He punches the glass. Just crazy part, that actually opens a hidden door. Inside is full of artifacts, odd little treasures, and strange objects his grandpa collected while traveling. And at the very back, there's a door. He steps through it, and it's Isekai 101. He's in a fantasy forest. He's got a stat screen, rare skills other people probably don't have, and a log cabin filled with every type of medieval weapon you can imagine. One of his new abilities makes him a master of the house and everything in it. There's this magical barrier around the place so that nothing can get in. He spends the day at the cabin trying out all the weapons, just enjoying himself. Here's what makes it different from other isekai stories, though. Yuya has no background in games or fantasy worlds. His parents abandoned him at 5, and the last 10 years have been all about surviving, so he's never learned the usual tropes or builds. He's physically and emotionally stunted, which makes his reactions feel genuine. When he picks up a spear, he doesn't check its stats. He swings it around like somebody who's never been allowed to just have fun. The rest of the story is about him moving between the fantasy world and the modern one, with events in one setting up what happens in the other. It's a nice mix of discovery, action, and small moments that make for dumb fun. So he plays until nightfall, and he heads to the convenience store after working up a bit of an appetite. We finally meet what I assume to be a love interest, keyword assume. There's like 4 notable women who pop up in book 1, and honestly 2 of them have way better odds than the other 2. This one, Kaori Hojo, is a full-on traditional Japanese beauty package. Pale skin, long dark hair, slim figure, and she's in the middle of getting harassed by some gang members. Now our boy, he's not exactly hero material yet, but he decides to play knight in shining armor anyway. Except it goes about as well as you'd expect. He gets wrecked. Mollywopped. Somebody finally calls the cops, and instead of sticking around to bask in his almost hero glory, he just gets up and dusts himself off and vanishes into the night. 0 thank you, 0 explanation. But here's the twist. The second the police start grilling Kaori about what happened, something clicks in her head. she's suddenly way too interested. Next thing you know, she's digging through his life like a true crime podcast file. Full background check, deep dives on everybody he knows, and what does she find? Well, his life has just been one long tragic train wreck. So, my man couldn't get anything to eat, right? So the convenience store was a bust in his eyes, so he drags himself back to the cabin. There was this small but mighty garden out back, and he cooks up some of the legendary veggies growing back there. Eats them. They make him stronger. Sure, why not? Then, because life just can't let him live, he gets ambushed by a high-level monster. Like, stupid high level. Joke's on the monster. Every weapon in the cabin is god tier. So, even a level 1 nobody like Yuya can just grab a spear, toss it like a javelin in the Olympics, and one-shot a level 300 red ogre. And boom, instant 100 levels. Now, he tries to be responsible with the stat points, spreading them evenly, but come on, most of it goes straight to luck, because you know his past. That night, though, in bed, oh no, his body greenlights the full DNA rewrite. Full-blown, tear you apart, burn you from the inside pain. And when it's all over, well, he's suddenly the guy on the book cover. Morning comes and his clothes are hanging off him. He doesn't even recognize himself. Strength gives him abs, and speed made him taller. Luck made him hotter, and apparently it blessed him in other ways too. Let's just say he's huge downstairs. His words, not mine. So this pattern keeps happening. He pops over to the fantasy world, slays some nasty monsters. He gets a shiny new skill, more levels, more points. And guess where they go? You guessed it. Luck. He hops back to modern Japan like nothing happened, and suddenly his fantasy loot doubles as cheat codes in everyday life. As an example, he learns language comprehension. In the other world, it lets him read the mystical scrolls and tombs like they're picture books. But back home, it lets him ace English and German classes without ever cracking a dictionary. His analysis skill, it's super useful when you're fighting against the unknown horrors in the Weld. But in Japan, he basically becomes the Sherlock Holmes of grocery shopping. No scams, no bad produce or fish. He's walking out with the best food in the prefecture. So he's just trying to live life like nothing's changed. But, you know, when you have your luck stat sitting in the 8,000s, the normal kind of goes right out the window. So during one of his other world trips, Yuya ends up meeting another possible love interest. Lexia von Arcelia, the princess of the Arcelia kingdom. Short, blonde, around Yuya's age, half human, half elf. The thing about half-elves, though, is they have a tough time controlling their magic, which makes people kind of wary of them. Lexia's no exception, especially when it comes to her brother. When they were kids, she accidentally scarred him really badly with her magic. Even though he recovered, expert healing and all, he never let it go. Later, he straight up tries having her assassinated near the forest. Luckily for Lexia, she runs into the Weld, and a giant goblin general shows up and takes out her would-be killers. Even more luckily, Yuya shows up just in time to take down the goblin and save her. As you might guess, this leaves quite an impression on Lexia. Kind of like what happened with Kaori. Even after she's rushed back to the castle, she can't stop thinking about the mysterious man from the Weld. Her very own knight in shining armor. So, Yuya's body, it's different now. Full body glow up. He finds some awesome clothes in the cabin that fits his new build, but he can't justify wearing the same outfit every day. So, he hits up the mall to switch things up a bit. And here we run into a third potential love interest. Miyu. Also, she's not just anybody. She's like literally a fashion model doing a photo shoot in the mall. And of course, they are missing their male model. And guess who happens to be shopping for clothes at this exact moment? Our boy, Yuya. This super over the top photographer named Hikaru sees him and he's like, "You're perfect." So suddenly Yuya's doing this impromptu photo shoot, killing it as an amateur model. The universe is basically out here just trying to prove how cool Yuya is. The plot twist, the original male model stumbles in, totally hungover. He tries to hit on Miu and he throws shade at Yuya, and he ends up picking up a fight. Big mistake. Yuya completely wrecks him in front of the entire mall and the whole photo crew, cameras rolling and everything. Hikaru and Miu thank him for help, gift him the clothes he wore during the shoot as they can't pay him like a full-blown model. So if that situation wasn't already screaming life-altering moment, here comes the kicker. It's his high school debut. Everybody is stunned by the glow-up, especially his siblings and those trashy bullies. They pretend to let him be during class, but of course they corner him after school because they can't help themselves. And just as it looks like history's about to repeat itself, his stupid broken luck stat goes off. Out rolls Kaori in a freaking limo, casually rocking her Osei Academy uniform. The uniform is basically the Hermes Birkin of schools. Just saying it makes people shut up. Her butler does the whole helping her out of the car thing, like we're in a drama. Dead silence. She just drops it. Yuya's invited to Osei Academy. Naturally, his siblings lose their minds. We're way better than our pig brother, blah, blah, blah. Kaori just annihilates them. First punch, yeah, I checked your backgrounds. You're never getting in. Second punch, I've also already reported you. Your teachers, fired. Your records, permanently stained. Fatality. Jeez. The twins were left fuming while Yuya boards the limo and disappears in the distance. So, Yuya and Kaori head over to Osei Academy, right? And Yuya's already sweating bullets because, surprise, the principal is Kaori's dad. He's convinced he's not good enough for this fancy school, but Kaori and her dad basically tell him, chill, just try a day and see how it feels. They toss him in front of this absolute bombshell of a teacher, Professor Sawada, who introduces him to the class. Cue the entire room gasping again because, shocker, Yuya's hot now. Like, oh, we've been here before. Come on, people, keep up. Yuya, meanwhile, is just floored at how easy the classes feel, how quickly he makes friends, and this gets me, how ridiculously good the food is and how cheap it is. Man's out here living the dream. By the end of the day, he's so grateful and fuzzy about finally meeting some decent human beings, he tells the principal, yeah, I'm in. Kaori, she uses this as her golden ticket to drag him downtown for a bit of a tour, which, let's be honest, is just code for a date at the crepe shop. They end up feeding each other in public, blushing like maniacs, while other people around them basically just stare at them like they're watching some season finale of a rom-com. It's not a date, by the way. Then we get this random interlude where Miu and Hikaru's, like, their magazine is trying to hunt down Yuya. But he's busy in the other world fighting a literal devil bear, and when he kills it, it drops like a flame guitar? Of course it does. It didn't happen in the anime, so I don't know if it'll matter later. The final chapter's chaos. He's at school, wandering around, looking at clubs. Bam! A rogue soccer ball nearly takes out this girl. Naturally, he saves her, which introduces love interest number 4. Kaede. This peppy Gyaru with assets. I don't see her... I don't see it in for her. She barely has any screen time. The in the middle of all that, the magazine comes out, and suddenly everybody at school realizes Yuya is not just hot, he's like cover model hot, and his classmates swarm to him like paparazzi. He's still struggling with self-worth, but hearing his new friends hype him up gives him a much needed morale boost. And because why not, things escalate into full-blown chaos. The Red Ogres attack. A biker gang breaks into the academy, and Kaori gets cornered during PE, and Yuya sees it from the window. Of course, the bikers turn out to be some of his old bullies, plus his 2 garbage siblings. Classic. He chokes back, he swallows his trauma, and he throws himself out the 4th floor window. Absolutely clowns everybody in the yard, not even throwing a single punch. He even tosses the giant sumo guy like it's nothing. The cops finally show up, and the leader freaks out, blames Yuya's younger brother, and tries to strangle him. Yuya still saves him. Everybody's confused, but he's like, they're still family. Yeah, cue the waterworks and the police carting them off anyway. The principal thanks him for being Kaori's knight in shining armor again, and then we get a little epilogue tease at the very end. Hikaru and Miyu's agency finally puts 2 and 2 together on who Yuya is. Meanwhile, in Fantasyland, Lexia wakes up and gushes about the man who saved her, and immediately starts scheming to thank him. On their way to the Weld, which is the forest, they call it the Weld. They get attacked again, because of course. Yuya saves the day again, because of course. And she straight up does a marriage proposal to him. In the first book, the guy's already collected 4 potential love interest and a marriage proposal. Oof. Well, that's the end of Volume 1. The anime followed it pretty closely, and they cut a few weird bits out, like the Devil Bear guitar bit, but basically Book 1 is episodes 1 through 4. I noticed a stark change in my notes while I was reading, so this recording's gonna have a lot of weirdness to it, inconsistencies. I'm still learning how to do this. Gosh. All right, well, I'm gonna start reading book 2, and I'll start taking notes on what to do. Maybe there will be some consistency in my notes. Maybe there'll be some consistencies in my recordings. I promise nothing. You guys have a good night.